Good evening, Tallahassee. This is student meteorologist Joy Lone here with your edition of FSU weather on a lovely fall Thursday. Look at those clouds, those cirrus clouds in the sky with a temperature of 68, and it will continue to go down with another lovely fall day after that cold front passed over. And we should not be experiencing any rain here. We just have some backscatter off of our radar, so there is nothing to worry about in terms of showers. And tonight in Tallahassee, as I mentioned, those temperatures will be dipping down. 48 degrees with a south-southwest wind at 5 miles per hour. It will be a lovely night to go outside. If you are a fan of the cold, just go outside and enjoy the weather. And tomorrow, 74, it will warm up a little bit more compared to today. That breeze should cool us off though, but it will be another lovely day here on Florida State's campus. And for our headlines tonight, how long will these chilly temperatures last? And we have a new bird of the week. And what is the jet stream? Very important stuff here on FSU Weather.
Student meteorologist Josh Millay.
And this is student meteorologist Nico Sapienza.
So, Nico, have you been noticing these cool temperatures these past 2 days?
Definitely, especially yesterday morning when it was windy. It was really cold behind the strong front that came through.
Yeah, although I am glad that we have these cold temperatures because it was just time to see. I was tired of the warm temperatures that we've been experiencing all last week.
Yeah, it definitely does get old after you have like months and months of it, and unfortunately next week looks kind of more summer-like we've been seeing through much of October, not really like this week.
Yeah, although let's get more into our local weather with Joy.
Thanks, guys. So as I mentioned, let's just take a look at those cirrus clouds again. Like, look at how beautiful they are. And that sun shining over Doak. It is just a beautiful day. I really loved today. 68 right now with a nice cool breeze. Honestly, just one of the best days it's been this fall. It really does feel like fall, and the entire Big Bend region can agree with that. Look at these temperatures. I mean, 63 in Thomasville, they're really living it up over there. And down by the coast, it may be a little bit warmer there, so maybe you aren't experiencing some fall temperatures right now. But it is pretty dry here in Tallahassee, as we expected those dew points to drop because of that cold front passing over. Although it's a little bit more muggy in Perry, but nothing too concerning. Although yesterday we did have fire weather watches due to very low dew points, so that is definitely a concern. But that heat index should not be changing. It should feel nice and cool and comfortable. And our low today was 44, which actually beat our average. Our average low is usually 52, but we did not dip down to that 28 in 1993. That is really cold and good. I'm so excited that it was not 89 like it was in 2015, so that's great. And as I mentioned, no showers in the area. I mean, backscatter is nothing to worry about, so it's just another lovely clear day. A few clouds in the sky, and those clouds will continue to persist throughout our area. Nothing really to be worried about over here. However, if you are east of I-10, you could see some pop-up showers. You could see some develop over there as we head into Friday. And tonight, those cool temperatures will be persisting in our region. 51 in Tallahassee, 53 down in Apalachicola if you're on the coast. And if you are up in Thomasville, 46. I mean, it's just a lovely night to go outside, hang out with your friends, maybe have a night picnic. I think I'm going to do that, go on a night picnic. And tomorrow, as I mentioned, 74. It will warm up a bit. Even down by the coast, it should be around the same. If you are up in Thomasville, you're just experiencing great luck. Cooler, 70 degrees. I mean, it will just be another lovely fall day. And tomorrow, just so ideal, 50 degrees by 6 a.m. And as it warms up, 66 by noon. Walking to class should be a breeze, nothing to really sweat over. It should be lovely and great and comfortable. And if you are going out tomorrow evening, I mean, 72 degrees by 6 p.m. is just fantastic weather to go out with your friends. Maybe go outside, go enjoy some dinner, maybe go to a park. I mean, I'm going to take advantage and study for some exams outside. But now we're going to pass it off to Nico.
As you can see here in North Florida, closer to the Panhandle and Panama City Beach, we've got some pretty clear skies, and as you guys saw here in Tallahassee, again, clear skies for most of the day, just some upper level cirrus. A little bit farther south, down in Miami and Orlando, we got a little bit more cloud cover, but nothing too bad. So it's going to be pretty beautiful sunsets for all across the state, and temperatures are going to be really, really nice as well. with most of the state hovering in the 70s and mid-60s up until tonight when temperatures will start to cool off. As for current temperatures, down by the south in Miami and Key West, it's a little bit warmer, closer to the 80s, upper 70s. But as you go farther north, you're gonna see that cold front, those post-cold frontal conditions where it's gonna get cooler at 68 in Gainesville, 62 in Jacksonville, and 68 in Tallahassee. And as you can see, current dew points, the northern part of Florida had more of that northern advection, which kept it pretty dry, while the rest of the state didn't have as much of that northerly flow and actually has some easterly flow that's bringing in a little bit more moisture, although dew points are a little bit farther down than what they're used to. And here you can see on the satellite that kind of easterly flow coming across the state, and it's actually going to bring some rainfall chances, mostly hugging the eastern coast, the Atlantic coast of Florida, but nothing too significant, less than half an inch. But most of it should be around that Melbourne, Cocoa Beach area of Florida. Starting off in Miami, things are going to be pretty warm in the 80s, and there is a chance of rain on Saturday. But going up to Tampa, that chance of rain is pretty low throughout the weekend, but again, still kind of relatively not as cold as in the northern part of the state, but it's going to be 84 on Saturday, so it's actually maybe shorts and shirt weather. But as you keep going farther north, Orlando's at 80, so maybe it's not going to get as hot. And in Jacksonville, once we get to the northern part of Florida, that's when, yeah, maybe you should be wearing a sweater throughout the day. It's going to be in the mid-70s, and there is a slight chance of rain on Friday at 40%. And Pensacola is going to be absolutely beautiful conditions, highs in the 70s throughout the weekend. So maybe it might be nice to go to the beach and chill in the sunshine, but the water might be a little bit cool. As for tonight's forecast, temperatures in the northern part of the state will drop down to the 40s, while in the southern part of the state, they're going to stay relatively warm. And as for tomorrow's forecast, highs in the north of Florida in the 70s, and then at South Florida, it's in the 80s. So now I'm going to pass things off to Josh.
Thank you so much, Nico. So now we're going to look at the south, across the southeast U.S. Now, as we go to our live look, we're seeing lovely sunsets and lovely outdoor cameras, but as always, ugly stadium. Why do we have this camera? But I guess we're here just for the weather and not so much for the stadiums. But anyhow, as you zoom out, we're going to see right now that we are seeing that we have temperatures ranging from 77 down in Miami, going all the way up to 60 in Little Rock. So we're seeing a little bit of a variance in temperatures, but we are also seeing quite a big contrast in dew points. Now, we're seeing dew points of 19, 21, 22 all across the deep south, but as you get into the Florida Peninsula, we're seeing dew points going all the way to 61 in Miami. And you're wondering what's going on with that? Well, I'll tell you. So we're seeing winds coming in from the northeast, basically coming in from the Atlantic, bringing in warm, moist air down through the Florida Peninsula. In fact, these winds are very strong compared to the winds across the rest of the southeast. So as a result of that, we will be seeing a lot more humid conditions, which, speaking of humid conditions, relative humidity. So basically, we're seeing higher relative humidities very much going from Jacksonville southward, and we're practically seeing bone dry conditions across the rest of the southeast as we are seeing. But as with relative humidity, we're going to go to heat index, which basically is going to just tell us what's going to be feeling like. It's going to feel a lot warmer going from Jacksonville southward, as I just said, but as you go northward, it's going to feel a lot cooler, a lot more like fall, which is something I actually really want, even though we've been feeling a lot more fall and kind of winter temperatures these last 2 days. And now, as you see, going into the next 48 hours, we're going to be seeing some rain coming into the coast, but it's nothing to worry about, mainly because of the fact that as we're forecasting this, we're not expecting any rain to come in. And also, so what's going to happen likely is that this rain is going to break apart, or if it does come on, it's going to be very light, nothing to be super concerned about, and we will not have any chance of thunderstorms whatsoever. Now, as we are seeing, we're also going to see some rain that could come in towards Key West. So if you're going down there just to have some fun and get away from the cold, you should make sure to bring an umbrella just in case. Now tonight, expect temperatures ranging quite a lot from 75 in Miami to freezing actually in Tupelo. And then tomorrow, we're going to be expecting a little bit of that same change, going from 60 in Tupelo as well, and then warming up into the 80s and 70s in some areas, such as 82 in Miami and 84 in Key West. But speaking of warm temperatures, and also it's quite warm considering it's the second day of November, our last month of hurricane season, which brings us to the tropics with Joy.
Thanks, Josh, and he is right. We are in our last month of hurricane season. It technically ends in December, but I mean, you never know what you can expect. You would think November, no systems. Wrong. Here, we have a low pressure system. It's churning in Central America. There's some pretty warm sea surface temperatures there. No matter what, this area of Central America and even into Cuba is getting a lot of rain, and the National Hurricane Center is giving it a 20% chance of formation within the next 7 days. So they could see a tropical system or not, but regardless, all the models are suggesting a westward motion into that area. So if you are in Central America, please make sure that you are prepared for a lot of rain. And on the other note, in the Eastern Pacific, we have Tropical Storm Pilar, and here it is going westward, and although the sea surface temperatures are above 80, as that would help the tropical system develop, the environmental conditions are saying that it will not strengthen into a hurricane. This could change, but that's what the models are saying, so it should maintain tropical storm status throughout its journey across the Pacific. And as I mentioned, here it is sitting over those pretty warm sea surface temperatures, and that low pressure system especially really sitting over some warm temperatures. So we're going to have a lot of convection and a lot of clouds developing with that system, regardless if it gains hurricane status or not. And now, please tell me, what is our what for today?
Thanks, Joy. So this week for Weather What, we're going to be looking at jet streams and how it affected this pretty strong storm that happened this past week in Europe. And so you may be asking yourself, what is a jet stream? Well, when you think of the word jet, you kind of think of the word fast, right? And jet streams are streams of air that are moving at relatively fast speeds, maybe 100 knots or more, and they're usually found in the mid-levels of our atmosphere. So they're relatively narrow bands of strong winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, as I just said.
Yeah, they definitely are, and they can influence our weather pretty strongly, especially with us going into El Nino here in the U.S. That's going to have impacts for us because the jet stream tends to dip further south and east, which can have storm systems come further south and east, causing potential for heavier rainfall, maybe some severe weather up even here in Florida, and cooler temperatures.
Exactly, and these jet streams are usually delineate boundaries between hot and cold air masses. And so sometimes if the polar jet stream, for example, might dip a little bit farther south, it might bring in some colder air.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be pretty interesting. You can even sometimes get snow to come a little bit further south, probably not all the way here to Tallahassee, but you never know, you can hope. But there's an example of the jet stream you could see right here on our screen when it dips to the south. This can sometimes even dip further south than that during El Nino, but you'll end up with hot, drier air in the desert southwest, and then you'll have cool, dry air across the Great Lakes, and then obviously southeast of that, that's where you're going to have your storm system tracks, and they're going to potentially cause wet weather.
And here on this graphic, you can see the two main jet streams from the northern hemisphere. We got the subtropical jet stream and the polar jet stream. And the subtropical jet stream is usually associated with an increase of moisture, and usually will intensify storms if a storm develops along that subtropical jet. And if the polar jet stream dips far enough, we'll get really cold temperatures like in the El Nino events.
Yeah, definitely. We could be expecting that potentially December, January, February. That's when some people can call air north of that the polar vortex. And if you remember that from a few years ago, it got really, really cold. But it can also be a key ingredient for something that we call a rapid development of a bomb cyclone.
So yeah, in this past week, we had Storm Chiron. It's actually pronounced, I don't know, maybe it's Celtic, because I know sometimes they say the letter C hard. So this jet was aided this storm in rapidly intensifying, and so for bombogenesis you need 24 millibars over 24 hours, and the last time I checked, this storm intensified 17 millibars in 12 hours, so that was pretty rapid intensification of a storm like that.
Yeah, we talked about rapid intensification with hurricanes, which are associated with the strong winds, but even these types of systems, you can see they're also going to be associated with strong winds. You're talking about wind gusts of around 100 miles an hour, because when you have that much of a difference in air pressure, it's going to create really strong winds.
Mm-hmm. So sending good vibes to our friends over there in Europe. But for now, what is going on in our country, Josh?
Thank you so much for that lovely presentation all about jet streams. Now, right now, going across the U.S., we're seeing quite a range in temperatures ranging from 37 near freezing in Bismarck going down to upper 70s in Miami and Southern California. Now, what we are seeing in common is that for the most part, we're seeing very dry very dry areas across the entire U.S. with very low dew points. 12 in Albuquerque. We're also seeing 19 in Denver, and a lot of these are also having to do with why we're not seeing as much stormy weather. Mainly, we're seeing fair weather across the region, we're seeing fair weather across the country, mainly because there's a bunch of highs, especially one located over North Carolina and 2 located in New Mexico and in Colorado in the Four Corners region. Now, as we're seeing not any storms coming in whatsoever, except for what's happening in the Pacific Northwest, as we are seeing an atmospheric river work its way in. That's mainly going to bring in not only warmer temperatures, but it's going to be bringing in moist air, and thus we'll be seeing some more precipitation. Although, unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing precipitation in some areas that need it, especially in Louisiana, also going into Memphis and greater Tennessee area. Now, what we will be expecting for with that rainfall is that while we do expect some rainfall in Florida, we're going to be mainly expecting it over and going into Seattle, working its way down into Vancouver as well, and going down near San Francisco. So as we zoom in, we'll be seeing a lot of that rain, especially work its way in Saturday evening, and it's going to continue well into Sunday afternoon. So this weekend, if you're in Seattle or just enjoying the Emerald City altogether, make sure to carry an umbrella, rain jacket, and always be weather aware. Now, as you look at 6 to 10 days, this is showing how much the temperatures will be above or below average. So we're going to expect temperatures to mainly be above average, especially in the southeast, but also we're going to see temperatures go below average in the northeast U.S. as well. Tonight, expect temperatures going in from 27 to Bismarck, and then going down to the upper 70s, and then tomorrow, expect temperatures going from 46 in Minneapolis, 82 in Miami, with rain in Seattle. Now, Nico, what's our bird of the week?
Yeah, so our bird of the week is one of my favorite birds, and I think it's also the best national mascot out of any country in the world. And this bird of the week, as you may have guessed, is the bald eagle. And yeah, so it's just awesome. Freedom, you know? Rah! So the bald eagles are not actually bald. The reason they gave them that name is because they kind of look bald, since they're white feathers that cover all of their head, and then their signature white feathers on their tail as well. The bald eagle is a national bird of the United States, and it appears on nearly all our seals, on our money. It's one of the main symbols of our country. And the bald eagle is a powerful flyer and usually soars on thermal convection currents, and it can soar for hours at a time. And from there, it likes to hunt, and bald eagles have exceptional eyesight. They can see 5 times better than humans can, so a lot of the times they're flying really high above in the sky, and then they see a little mouse or rat, maybe even a fish, and they go and catch it. So we're better for the bald eagle than Washington, D.C. And so right now in Washington, D.C., it's pretty clear conditions. Also, again, post-frontal temperatures at 48, and with a slight breeze from the south at 6 miles per hour. And for today in Washington, D.C., it's actually been pretty below average. So our low was actually 34, really close to freezing temperatures, and our high only got to 53, so definitely below average. And our low was actually not too far from our record, so it was pretty cold conditions for early November here in Washington, D.C., and definitely nowhere near that warm temperature that we had back in 1971. And so for temperatures in the tri-state area, Washington at 48, Annapolis at 47, so most of the region is seeing temperatures in the mid-40s for this evening. And looking at the radar, there's actually not much going on. Again, post-frontal conditions with that high pressure moving over. We're going to see not that many chances of rain, maybe a couple of showers here near the Appalachians, but those will be really, really brief. So pretty nice conditions on for tonight. And as for future radar into tomorrow, maybe some slight clouds over in eastern Maryland. But other than that, the Washington, D.C. area is actually looking really nice and having a really nice start to their November. And as for the 4-day forecast in November, 4-day forecast for the week, we're going to have freezing temperatures possibly tonight at 32, and then it starts to warm up later on in the week, and temperatures will stay with highs in the 60s. So what's going on around town here?
Yes, thank you, Nico. It's definitely going to get warmer up in Washington, D.C. It's also going to get even warmer here. But looking around Tallahassee, if you're going to be going out and about tonight, really nice conditions. One of your last sunsets that's going to be this late before we have to fall back on Sunday. And looking at our sunset, it's actually pretty It's pretty pretty outside right now. Look at Panama City right now. You can even see it here on the screen with some pink colors in the background. It's a great evening to be outside. It is a little bit chilly, but not as much as yesterday. We're talking about 67 degrees right now. We weren't too far off from 70 degrees, and it's going to be really nice out if you're going to be out and about. Definitely, you're not going to have to worry about any rain, and it's going to be really dry as well. Look at our dew points at 45 here in Tallahassee. We were talking about even lower dew points yesterday. Donaldsonville right now is 32, but yesterday you were talking about a dew point up there in, I think, the high teens, if I remember correctly, with extremely dry air. But as I have alluded to with our nice conditions, it's going to actually be, I believe, a waning gibbous tonight, but it is a great night to view the stars, view the moon. We're not going to be talking about too many clouds tonight. We may see some over the weekend, but not too much right now. As for airport delays, we're talking about maybe a few clouds rolling in, but we're not going to see anything in the way of delays out of Tallahassee. Hopefully we don't, at least, because the weather is pretty nice, and that would be bad if we had delays here. But looking at your delays around the rest of the country, I know that looking at flight maps that there are some delays around, but hopefully pretty much everyone is good. We aren't seeing much in the way of bad weather, so any delays that you are seeing, if they're telling you it's because of the weather, it's not, because it's not raining anywhere right now except for the Pacific Northwest. But looking around town tomorrow, it's going to warm up to the mid-70s. It's going to feel more fall-like than it has where it's felt winter-like over the past couple days. Mostly sunny conditions. Winds are going to be out in the northeast at 10. You're going to feel that breeze, but it's not going to be as chilly as it's been over the past couple days, and you're going to see mostly sunny conditions as well. And if you're going to be out walking your dog, if you want to do it between 7 and 9 a.m., you might want to wear a jacket because it's going to be pretty chilly early in the day. But by 11, it's going to be 61, and these temperatures are pretty nice in my opinion. You're not dealing with having to sweat, and you're dealing with not being freezing either, like 49 is a little bit chilly. Although tomorrow, even if it's going to feel nice out, maybe don't go to the pool because you will feel freezing after you get out of the water. Even if it's 72 degrees, the water is going to be chilly, and you're definitely going to feel, being wet, you're going to feel really chilly after getting out of the water. It's a great day to walk on the beach, but probably not a great day to be in the water for the same reason, talking about 49 degrees in the morning and then 61 by 11 a.m. And our countdown for our holidays, we're talking about Thanksgiving 3 weeks from today, Hanukkah starts 5 weeks from today on December 7th, and Christmas on December 25th, obviously. We're only 53 days away, and some people are already starting the holiday season. But now I'm going to pass things off to Joy for one last look at our local.
Thank you. I am so glad Hanukkah was on that list because I love Hanukkah. But we're going to take a look at that res, and as Nico said, I would not go in that water if I were you. So if you were out about on the res canoeing or kayaking, good for you. But the temperature right now is 68, so it's still pretty cool. We're just going to give you one last look here at the temperatures around the Big Bend region. 68 in Tallahassee, still cool up in Valdosta and Thomasville, and still pretty warm down by the coast. And those dew points will stay dry for the remainder of today. It is 45 here in Tallahassee, a little more muggy in Perry, but as that cold front passed over today, we would expect those dew points to be as low as they are. And with our wind speed here at 7 miles per hour, we have a slight breeze that should help cool us off just a little bit, but nothing too extreme. But if you were down by Apalachicola, your temperatures will feel much more cooler with 12 mile per hour winds. And for tonight, we could see that those temperatures are going to continue to stay low, nice and fall-like, in fact. 46 in Thomasville, 44 in Bainbridge, and here in Tallahassee, 51 degrees. A lovely night to go out and hang out with your friends. I will definitely be taking advantage of tonight and going out with my friends. And the weather should not impact you in terms of precipitation because we have none going on here. Our cool temperatures come with lovely lack of rain. We just have backscatter, which is absolutely nothing to worry about. And we should just experience some clouds within the next couple of days here. And if you are east of I-10, we should see a couple of pop-up showers. But if you're staying in the Tallahassee region, you have nothing to worry about in terms of rain. So if you go to class tomorrow, maybe just bring a light jacket because with our day planner, it will be 52 by 9 a.m. and by noon, it will be 66 degrees. So it will be a little bit chilly if you're from me. If you're from Miami, just like me, I get pretty cold when it's 66. And if you are driving, it should be a lovely day to drive. Nothing will obstruct your view here. Unless you are driving to east of I-10, you could experience some showers over there. And we do have some women's soccer tonight. It is in North Carolina, and the temperatures are pretty cool. since they're playing outdoors, they will be experiencing 41 degrees by 8 p.m., so pretty cool temperatures, and hopefully them running around will help keep them warm. And if you are staying in that area, you should have some lovely conditions. I mean, 71 Saturday and Sunday, and then by nighttime, it should be pretty cool. So again, if you are going to stay in that area, it'll be a great day to go out and just enjoy some time. And we do have a volleyball game tomorrow. It is here at the Tully Gym, and by 5 p.m., 73. And if you're leaving the gym, it will be 63 by 9 p.m. And again, no showers to expect, so it should just be a quick, easy in and out of the gym. So very comfortable temperatures there. And we do have a football game this Saturday. It will be in Pittsburgh. So if you're going up to Pittsburgh, expect some pretty comfortable temperatures, 58 by 3 p.m. and by 5 p.m., 57, and 7 p.m. it will be 52. So throughout the entire game, it should not be very uncomfortable in terms of the temperatures, and it should feel lovely and nice. And as for our weekday planner, we should have some pretty consistent and very comfortable lows, and during the daytime, it should be pretty mild and not too hot, just how I like it here in fall in Tallahassee. So let's close things off at the desk.
Thank you so much, Joy. Nico, are you excited for this weekend, as we'll be able to get an extra hour of sleep and fall back?
I actually totally forgot about that. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. It's actually, I really look forward to that weekend where I can wake up and it's like, oh wow, it's so early. Let me go back to sleep.
Yeah, so speaking of that, make sure to turn back your clocks Saturday night, as we'll be falling back an hour. So if you wonder why it's so early, why it's so sunny so early, that's why.
Mm-hmm. And interesting fact, actually, at the National Weather Service, as you know how they have, it's 24 hours, and so it's by shift. The night shift at that day actually has to work an extra hour. They're forced to. So, I mean, you get more money, but on the flip side, you have to work an extra hour.
I mean, that is fair. Although, anyhow, but follow us at Twitter at twitter.com/FSU weather.
And then like us on Facebook and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU weather.
You can watch us live on YouTube, as you're doing right now, at youtube.com/FSU weather.
And you can follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather and send us any cool photos, and we might post it.
Yeah. Also, feel free to watch us on TikTok, but not on school Wi-Fi. And just remember to have a good night. This is Josh Millay.
And this is Nico Porcelli. Thank you for watching.